What's good, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. In this episode, I'm going to take you through 4 of my favorite exercises for training your abs and your obliques. So without waiting, let's dive right into this video. Now, when it comes to your ab training, a lot of people tend to train their abs differently to any other muscle group, which doesn't make any sense. They believe that you need to train your abs with doing high repetitions of just body weight exercises. But if you was to train your legs, you know you wouldn't be doing hundreds of reps of body weight squats, right? You would get some weight behind it and start training them harder. Same thing goes for your abs. They're a muscle group just like anything else, and they need some weight behind it too. So what we're gonna do in this video is go through my favorite exercises. That includes weight. So the first exercise we're gonna go through is some dead bugs, and we're gonna do it weighted. Now, the reason I'm a big fan of dead bugs is because they are very versatile and they're open for anyone to be able to do it. It's not limited because of the amount of access to equipment you have. The other great thing about dead bugs is there's so many different variations, which we can either make it easier or we can make it harder. But as in this video, because I want to talk about weighted exercises, I'm going to show you the weighted variation of it. So when it comes to dead bugs, what we want to be doing is basically looking like a dead bug to begin with, right? So we're bringing your knees up around 90 degrees, and then we're going to bring your arms up in front of your body just like so. Now, what a lot of people get wrong with this exercise is they keep a gap underneath their lower back. I need you to push into that point as hard as you can. So what I want you to think about doing is lifting your knees and bum off the ground. So what I mean by this is if I push up, you can see that very, very slight difference from when I push my lower back down and lift the bum slightly off the floor versus here. Here, my abs are relaxed. I can stay here all day. Here, my abs are put under much more strain, and you can hear it in my voice that it's probably shaking a little bit more, right? So that's what we need. We need that activation in the abs. Next, what we're gonna do is grab the weight plate and hold it out in front of your chest like so. Now, from here, very slowly, reaching out as far as you can, but don't let that back come off the floor, okay? As soon as that happens, my core's no longer working. The only time it's working is when I'm really pushing down and pulling my hips and ribs together in this position. So again, knees up into the air, core brace nice and tight, and then very slowly reaching out as far as you can without that back coming off. And then from here, you're gonna drive back in, and again, think about lifting that bum off of the ground. If you need to make it easier, you can switch to one leg at a time, bringing it in and out, just like so from there to there. Next up, we've got some cable rope crunches, but I'm gonna be showing you a different version than you've probably done or seen before. The version you've probably seen before is where, you know, people are on their knees crunching in and out, but what tends to happen with this exercise is a lot of people move back through their hips too much and they take the tension off their abs. Whereas what we're gonna be doing here, setting it up on the bench like so, we're gonna be creating stability because we've got something to be up against. So this is gonna make it so much more beneficial for targeting those abs. So the things that you're gonna need for this exercise is some ropes, a cable machine, a bench, and either an ab mat or just a fold up mat. Now, an important thing to note before we dive into this is due to the setup of the cable height. If you set it up at this mid height here, roughly in line with where your head's gonna be on the bench, then that's gonna be a great overall targeting for the abs. If we set it up high, only the bottom part of the movement's gonna be difficult, and that first initial bit is gonna be very easy. If we set it up from the bottom, that first initial bit coming off the mat is gonna be very difficult, and then it's gonna get easier towards the back. So what I want you focusing on is just setting it up in the middle so it's a nice even playing field across the entire movement. So once you've got the bench set up at about 30-degree angle, you're ready to go. Best thing to do is if you take the rope, walk around the bench, take a seat, and then from here, you can get into the position that you want. So what we're looking for is that ab mat to be righting the lower part of your spine so we can really stretch those abs out. When we're looking to train your abs, we're looking to not only contract and shorten them, but we're looking to lengthen them out as much as we can. And that's why we need that mat in the lower part of your back. From here, what we want to do is take your arms on either side of your head, core brace nice and tight, and then I want you to think about driving your ribs down towards your hips, sitting up and crunching into the movement, okay? Get a solid hold at the top. What I don't want to see you doing is just bouncing up and down through the movement. We want to keep it nice and controlled. So remember, what we want to do is really focus on driving the ribs down, getting a good hold, very slowly releasing, getting that full stretch on the abs, and then again repeating, squeezing the muscles up to the top point, and slowly releasing, getting that full stretch. The next two exercises we're going to run through is now going to be targeting your obliques. So what we're going to go through first is the cable wood chop, which I'm sure you're very familiar with. Now the cable wood chop is a great exercise for targeting the obliques, but only when you get it right. And I see so many people butchering this exercise. So I want to give you a run through of how to avoid the common mistakes that people make and how to make it most effective for targeting those obliques. So when it comes to the setup first, what we want to make sure is that this handle here is going to be directly in line with the sternum, so the middle of your chest, okay? That's going to be the best leverage point for us to perform this exercise. Then when you take your hands on it, make sure that you put the hand on first that's closest to the machine. If you go for the one furthest away, especially as you get heavier, it's going to be more of a tendency for this to slip out through your grip, whereas here, that's not going anywhere, so you're locked in nice and tight. As we step out, we want to make sure that we step back far enough that when your arm is out straight in front of you, the cable is directly in line with the machine. What we don't want to do is be stepping too far forward that the cable's pulling back behind you. This is going to be a bit too easy. And then the same again, if we go too far back, that it's never actually getting in line with the machine. Again, it's not going to be the best strength profile for you to get the most effective workout. So once we find out that point of where we want to be, with it directly in the middle of your chest and in line with the machine, the next part is putting it all together. So what we want to do, allow your body to be rotated around by the weight, okay? Don't let it drop back, control it on the way back. But what we don't want to do is I see so many people moving their hips through this exercise, okay? When we move the hips through this exercise, we're not actually working the obliques, because the obliques, for them to work, they need to contract and pull us around side to side, which, as you can see, if I move my hips, my obliques aren't actually changing position, they're just moving with the rest of my body. So make sure that this stays fixed by squeezing your glutes and then rotate from here throughout the exercise. That's enough explanation, so we'll dive right into the exercise now. So make sure your feet are roughly around shoulder width apart. Closer they are, harder it is. Wider they are, the easier it is. From here then, what we want to do, core brace, squeeze those glutes. We're going to allow the machine to slightly pull us back while we can still feel tension. Breathe out as much as we can while we rotate. But again, don't let those hips twist with you. Keep them facing forwards, okay? And just make sure that you stay controlled throughout the entire movement, contracting those obliques as we move around, resisting on the way back, and rotating. Okay, and the fourth and final exercise for this video is going to be some hyperextension oblique holds. Now, I don't know what the real name is for this, but that's the best one I can come up with. Now, don't worry if you don't have one of these hyperextension machines. There's two other ways in which we can set this up for you. One version is going to be on an exercise ball. All we're going to need to do is place your feet against the corner of a wall, and then from there we can mimic the exercise. Or another version, you can either do on a squat rack or a Smith machine. All you need to do is find some bumper plates to wedge your feet in, find a hip thrust pad that you can rest your hips against, and then from there we can mimic the exercise. But for this video, I'm going to mainly talk about this one because it's going to be the easiest way to demonstrate and go through it. So what we're going to do is we want to make sure that this pad is set up on line with your hips, okay? We want to make sure it's right under there. We don't want to make it down in line with your thigh. We don't want to make it up too high against your stomach. We need it against your hip bone so we're nice and solidly locked in. When it comes to the foot position, what I want you to do is your bottom leg is going to go in front, and then your top leg is going to go behind, and you're going to wedge yourself in as much as you possibly can. Then we're going to take your weight like so, and we want to be laying in a nice straight line. I see a lot of people basically laying down like this during this exercise, or laying up too much, which is going to make it easier. We want to make sure that we're extended out as far as we possibly can, okay? Taking the plate into your chest, you're going to pull your belly button in tight, breathe out, hold, and resist that weight from pulling you down and twisting you, okay? So we want to be contracting those obliques and that core to basically resist that weight dropping you down. We're going to hold for 2 seconds, come back in, straight back out and hold, in, straight back out and hold, okay? So we're going to go for reps for this exercise. Now, to make this easier, you can ditch the weight altogether and just hold for time, or you can obviously make it harder by increasing the weight as you go. And there you have it. There are my 4 favorite exercises for targeting your abs and your obliques while using weights during the session. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and then also make sure that you hit that bell notification so you can be alerted when I upload my next video. Thank you again for watching.